Hey all, and welcome to Kobe's Classroom, the visual guide for the Criterion dungeon, Another Aloalo Island Boss 2. This is the class setup that we'll be using for this guide. For this ad phase, I'm going to show you what the ads do, and then the path we take to kill them. The first ad is this wood golem. It opens with Ancient Arrow 3, which needs to be interrupted. Then it'll target somebody with Tornado and bind anybody caught in the AoE. The healer needs to S-ner the targeted player or they'll be killed by Ovation, a line AoE towards any binded player. After this, it starts to enrage. Next, we have the Island Keeper, which opens with Ancient Quagga, a strong raid wide with a heavy dot. Gravity Force is a party stack, followed up with Island Drop, a targeted AoE. We just stay stacked until the Island Drop cast starts and then move. After this, another Ancient Quagga and then enrage. For these ads, the golems start red with an attack boost and the keepers are blue with a defense boost. Every time an ad dies, they'll swap color. We start by moving north and killing the keeper in the northwest by pulling it to the northeast. We pretty much just stay here for the first 3 ads. They walk around, and when the golem dies, we pull the keeper that's walking up or in the middle. Deal with all of its mechanics here too. I can confirm that this does work in Savage, it's just a little bit tighter on the DPS. We pull the third ad, another golem, to the southeast as the second keeper will be walking around the north. We kill it, then just finish the last keeper and we're onto the boss. The second boss, Lala, opens with Inferno Theorem, a raid wide that puts up death walls. Angular Addition will give the boss a rotation number buff, either 3 or 5. This mechanic appears a lot in this encounter. Arcane Blight will show a cleave and a rotation direction. At the end of the cast, the cleave will rotate 90 degrees in the shown direction the amount of times shown on the buff. So in this case, 3 times clockwise. If you want to think of it differently, 3 rotations clockwise is just 1 rotation counterclockwise, and 5 rotations clockwise is just 1 rotation clockwise. We move into the safe spot and the cleave goes off. Next, Analysis will give everyone a ring that has 1 segment open. If you've done the Stormblood Alliance raids, this is the same Mustadio sniper mechanic. You need to have the open hole facing towards every mechanic that goes off. Arcane Array will spawn these arrows and orbs. When an orb is hit by an arrow, it will explode. We all face the open hole towards the first orb, and the Angular Addition cast finishes, giving us all a rotation number buff. After the orb goes off, we get another rotating boss cleave. This one is 3 times counterclockwise. Next, we face the hole towards the second orb. Finally, we all get tethers and rotation directions. The open hole will rotate the number of times on your buff in the direction shown above your head. You need it to end up facing the boss, so we angle ourselves correctly, and it resolves. The order to resolve mechanics is always orb, boss, orb, hole. It'll take some practice, but you'll get it. Next, we get a Strategic Strike Tank Buster, followed up by the next mechanic, Planar Tactics. This gives out several mechanics. A Forced March, which will make us move in the specified direction. A Rotation Number, this will rotate the Forced March. A Square debuff, there will be 1-1, 2-2s, and 1-3. We need to walk through the shown number of tiles, or you'll explode and wipe. And finally, 2 stack debuffs. We use the open square of the middle 9 as a relative southwest and set up the board like this based on our square number. It's important that the top 2 player is in the middle of the tile, or they can hit the 3rd tile before the 3 player gets there. We march and the stacks will go off. If you get a 2, you need to be mindful of who has the stacks, as you may need to swap. In this case, the player in the top 2 spot and the player with 3 both have the stacks, so the 2s would need to swap. So we get into our positions and a rotation direction will show. This rotates your forced march, so you need to angle yourself so when it resolves, your forced march will send you through the tiles. The rotation happens, and we move through the tiles and resolve the stacks. This is followed by an Inferno Theorem raid-wide and a Strategic Strike. Next, we get Spatial Tactics, which gives everyone a 1, 2, 3, or 4 cube debuff. This is the number of times you need to be hit by a cube or an orb. The next Arcane Array will spawn cubes and an orb in a pattern like this. It could be rotated, but the pattern and how we resolve it remains the same. I'll show you how each cube number resolves it. We start with the 1s and 2s in the middle, and the 3s and 4s in line with the 2 cubes on the same line. You can find it either by being in line with the first cube, or opposite the orb. The orb and first cube go off, the second cube goes off, and 1 can move into where it was, and just stay there. 3 and 4 get hit for the 3rd time, 2 gets hit the 2nd time, and 3 can move into the middle. 4 moves into the edge for the last cube, and it's over. Towards the end of the mechanic, the boss gets a rotation number and direction. We just need to deal with a rotating cleave within the arrow lines. This is followed by 2 Inferno Theorems. Symmetric Surge puts stacks on 2 players of the same role. Constructive Figure spawns these adds on one wall, which will do line AoEs in front of them. These will be our relative west. Arcane Plot spawns these arrows. This is our relative north. We send our melee into the spot between adds in the north and the range to the south. Arcane Point will target everyone. When this goes off, the square we're standing in will become unsafe. The adds and arrow lines resolve. Arcane Point drops and we move into where the adds were. Explosive Theorem will target everyone with a circular AoE. We just drop these in the far corner as they persist, then resolve the stacks in the safe spot created by it. And that's the last new mechanic of the fight. We get another Strategic Strike and raid wide, then another Arcane Array, exactly like the first one, then 2 Inferno Theorems, which is the Enrage. If you manage to clear, congratulations. If not, you'll get it next time. If you like this video, you can leave a like, comment, or subscribe. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at BigKobeLive. The Boss 3 video will hopefully be up tomorrow or the day after, and I'll see you guys there. Peace.